guys, as you can tell by the titles, we're cracking straight on with this in the workshop, no problems. We are working on our Ice Warrior costume, and this episode will be on the arms. So to do this, what I've done is I've templated my own arm. I basically covered it in cling film and then covered that with masking tape so I could draw onto it with a pen. This is very difficult if you decide to do this by yourself. I would recommend having a friend there. It's also very difficult to try and cut it off your own and one-handed. So this is what I had for the bottom piece of the arm, wrapped around the arm like that. I then moved that over to a piece of paper. I've kind of accentuated the top bit here and added extra on the side here. This is simple fact is the template is tight to my arm, obviously, so I need to give it a bit of space to breathe. But then I've also got to take into account the foam. So this is going to go on the outside of the foam. That's then got to fold round. You're then going to lose so much in the middle. So you have to add a bit extra onto here. As you do this more and more, you'll get to gauge that. But I've basically added about 5 centimeters on the bottom here, and then brought that up evenly on the sides. So we're going to move this over onto a sheet of foam, cut that out, heat it up, and try and get it round to match our arm. Transported that onto our sheet of foam, and then using my sharp knife, I'm going to cut this out and on my cut mat, nice and evenly. Get that cut out and ready. Okay, once we've got that cut out, what I'm going to do now is apply some heat to this and hopefully get it curved round enough to be able I can stick that together, and then that's obviously going to be our gauntlet. So we're going to crack on with that, get it heated, and see what we can do with it. Spent quite a few minutes there applying heat to that. That's made the foam lovely and soft, and we're basically going to curve it round past the point where it needs to be glued. You've got to make it nice and tight, because what it will do is it will spring back a little bit. Now if you've got something like some rings, bigger rings, you can probably put them around it, hold it in place, but I'm just going to hold it like this for a little bit until it cools down, and it will hold its shape a little bit more. Right, now as you can see, after it's cooled a little bit and you let go of it, it springs back a little bit. You'll be able to get that. One of the reasons we added the extra to it obviously was add a bit of space, but once you've heated it up, these two bits don't really kind of line up that well. So what I've done is put it over the edge of the table and literally trimmed just a fraction off of it. So I now have a better fit for these. So the next job is to get this sealed in place here, and then that's our gauntlet ready. Okay, that's all nicely glued in now, so we've now got the gauntlet shape. That fits on quite nicely. My hand just fits through the end now, which is what we're after. But it's not too big, it's not too small, fits on the arm. Of course, once you've done that, that can basically just be transposed again, and you can create the other arm. There's no kind of left and right with this, they're both going to be exactly the same from this point. So either one will go on either arm. That fits on quite nicely. So I'll have the two gauntlets like that. What I'm going to do is more detail to be added to this, but I'm going to leave that for the moment. I'm going to do the top arm piece in exactly the same way. And once I've got all that, we're going to start adding the detail to this, making this look good, and then we're going to work on the hands, because I'm going to connect the hands to this bit so it's all one piece. So it holds on, and then the top piece of the arm will be a separate piece. But we're going to work the top arm now, get that done, and then take it from there. Okay, so we've done the top section of the arm. I now have 2 bits of each arm. I've done 2 of these. Basically just followed exactly the same steps I did for the bottom gauntlet. So that all fits in nicely. So now what we're going to do is add the detailing to this. I'm going to work on the bottom one, show you on that, and then we're going to just basically transpose that to the top part, and the other 2 bits complete both arms. So for this we're going to need to go back to the template, top arm one. So you take the bottom arm template, and I'm going to have to move this onto some 5mm foam and take it from there. So I've done the bottom arm template again onto a piece of 5mm foam, and then what I've done is I've drawn out these sections here. These are going to be cut out, these are going to be windows, and then this is going to be wrapped around arm section again to leave those gaps. And obviously I've added a little bit extra to each side, because obviously now this is going around the outside of the other piece of foam, it needs to be a little bit bigger. Always add extra on. It's easier to get it round there and realise you have to trim a bit off than realise it's too short, so it's better to have a little bit too much than too little. So we're going to cut these bits out, and I've drawn them on, and we're going to move this onto the other one, but we're not going to stick it down just yet, and I'll show you why when we get to that. Okay, what I've done is I'm not sure how well you can see this, I've laid it on and roughly drawn out where these are. These aren't, it just needs to be roughly, we just need a rough idea where these are going to be. So what we're going to do is we're going to add to these bits that are going to be seen our scaling details, exactly the same as we did on the helmet. This is warmed up enough, yeah. And we're going to add our scaling details, but we're going to go past the lines, because obviously the other bit's going to be covering it. And obviously we only just did it roughly, so we're going to make our scale marks in here, expand out on this one and expand out on the other one, and then that 5mm foam can fit around this, cover up the edges and just expose our scaling detail in the middle. This is basically all free form, just kind of go with what you feel looks and feels good, trying to create the scales. I'll do another one across there. So yeah, this all basically comes down to preference, and obviously you're not going to really copy much else out in this. But we're going to crack on, get the detailing done around this and the other piece of foam, and then we'll start adding the top to it. So there we have it, we've added the scaling detail all the way around that. We've gone past the lines that we need to, so once that's covered, that's going to look pretty good. So we're going to bring this piece back, we're going to start from the middle, stick that in, and then we're going to start sticking that round. But you can see once we put that on, the kind of look that we're going for. So we're going to have scales on the outside, this bit's all going to be lovely and shiny, this bit's all going to be scaly. So we're going to put these on, and obviously then do all this to the other ones. Okay, so there we go, that's this bit done. I've managed to get that on, so it covers up the edges, so you can see the scaling detail through the middle there. I think that looks really good. I did kind of underestimate how much the foam would go round, so I've had to add a little bit of stripping, but no need to worry, because there's going to be some more of the spining details will run down here to cover that up, and down here. So then that will all look quite good from there. So that's that done. I now obviously need to do the same roughly to the top, and obviously to then complete the other two pieces of arm, and then we will move on to the gloves. But what I'll do is I'll do the top part and I'll show you what that looks like, what I've done with that, and then we'll move on to the gloves. So I've done the other arm. As you can see, I made a little bit extra, so that fitted in a lot better there. I've also done the top section of the arms. What I've decided to do is, it's not having the 5mm bit because I can't see it anywhere on the original, so this is just going to be scale work all the way around like this, and then once I've decided which is left and right, on the back section I'm going to do some spines that just run down the back part, and that's all the detailing that's going to have on it. So I've got both of them done, the top section of the arms, and I've done both of these for the bottom section of the arms. Now what I'm going to work on now is the spine work. As you can see, I've already marked this in. I've done used the template again and just cut off a section that runs through the middle there, just so I get the shapes right, top and bottom and the length. Obviously I need two of them, so I'll cut two of them. This one I've already marked out. I'm going to cut each one of these out individually, and then use the same technique that I did on the helmet for creating the spines that went over the top of the head, and they're going to then be stuck to this. And I'm also going to find a scrap strip and do a few spines down, a couple of rows of spines down the middle of that, just to cover that seam up. Do that on the other one and do the top part. So we get on with the spikes, add the spikes to it, and then we'll see what they're looking like. Okay then, as you can see, I've done this. It's taken me a little while. Once you sort of get into the hang of it, you get them done quite quickly. So I've done the spines down the middle. I've done a row of spines down the bottom here. That's kind of hiding that seam in. And hopefully, as you can see, that's making that gauntlet look quite good, ready to go on the arm like that. I've already given this a go over with the heat gun, so it's kind of sealed in a little bit of this foam. This bit was obviously already heated to form it into shape, and I'm now giving this a coat in the PVA glue. I'm going to get about 2 or 3 coats. I've given this one already, so it's going to get another coat. And then I'm going to make a start on the hands. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and attempt to build my own glove, obviously a 2-fingered and thumbed glove. I've kind of done a rough template here, utilising my own hand, and what I'm going to use is I've got loads of this wonderful fake leather. I use in a few projects, watch straps and sword handles always comes in handy for. So I'm going to use this because once this will also take the paint, so we can paint this up a green the same as the rest of it, but hopefully it will kind of look a bit more like lizard style skin, and then we're going to do some more of the spine details over the hands as it moves, so the bits in between will just look like skin. So that is the plan. I've never done it before, so we're going to see how that goes, and I'll go along with it with you and we'll see how it turns out. I've cut out my template pieces, I've done the top and the bottom, which is just reverse, with this bit cut out obviously for the thumb, so it goes in, and obviously I've done the side piece and I've added extra to the top, which then comes down to a wider bit, the same as the side here. Hopefully this should be enough to go around the fingers before that bit comes back. Obviously we're going to give that a go. I know this should be stitched, but I'm probably going to be gluing this because obviously sewing and fabric work isn't my best, so I'm going to try and stick to what I know. We're going to fabricate this. I'm going to fabricate this bit round, take it nice and slowly, do both sides of the fingers as I go. It might be easier, but yep, let's have a go and see what it turns out. Okay, that's one glove down. It wasn't particularly easy, but we got there in the end. A few little bits just to finish off. The movement isn't great in the glove, but at least it's there, and we've got the shape. So as it sits in the gauntlet up to there, and I can do some more detailing on this, it will some way look the part. I'll have at least a movement between thumb and hand, so I've got that pincer movement. I should be able to at least take the helmet off while I'm still wearing these, or at least take the next one off, help with that. So that's that one done. Obviously you need to build the left hand one now, and then start adding detail to it. Okay then, I've done the glove. I've created 2 of them, as you can see, and I've done some spine work on here just to kind of add a little bit more realistic to it. I've literally just done 2 bits over the fingers here to obviously act as joints, and this bit to obviously indicate where the wrist would be. That's all the detail I'm really going to add to this. I think that's all it needs. You can start adding other little bits and pieces to it, but I think that just could be going over the top. So we're going to have that as a glove. The movement's not going to be great anyway, but as long as the scales are there across the back, once that's added to the wrist section, that will look quite good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the heat gun to this very lightly, because obviously the fake leather's underneath it. Try and seal some of this in a little bit, and then we're going to attach it to the gauntlet part and start painting it up. There we go, the hand has been attached to the gauntlet part, and then obviously all sprayed up, so that's now a lovely green. What we're going to do now, it's not quite finished. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to add some weathering detail to this. Basically that just adds that final little touch. I've already done the top part of the arm. As you can see, that obviously looks quite a bit different to that. And the simple way of we're going to be doing the weathering is I've got some black acrylic paint and an old rag. This is the rag I use for the black part of my weathering. There's no point getting a clean one because you're essentially just adding dirt to something. So I keep using the same cloth because after a while it becomes a lot easier to use once it's not so clean anymore. So obviously I'm wearing gloves because this can get quite messy. So we pick a part of the cloth, and that's the part that we'll dab in the paint. And then what we'll do is we'll rub that in, like this section. Okay. And then what we'll do is take another bit of the cloth and we'll rub a lot of that away. So the green starts to come back, but it kind of adds that little detail in there, and then we can go back so we find the bit that we had the paint on it. We can add more to it. So we'll add it in sort of light coats, rub a lot of it away, and then we'll go back and we'll add bits and more to it, get into the corners and the little bits, and we'll add the weathering. So that's kind of what that looks like. I'm going to crack on with this and then show you the end result. And there we go, I've finished the weathering on this one. I've also added some to the throw leather on the glove that just darkens it up a little bit. And that's all ready to go. So there we go, I've done both arms, tops and bottom, and the tops as well. So that's all ready to go. The next episode I'll be doing the leg sections. That's pretty similar to this. It's going to be a few variances, so I'll go through that with you in the tutorial. Try not to make it too boring and too much the same as this one. Obviously please like, please subscribe. You'll catch the other videos as I release them. And if you want to, you can also check us out on our Facebook page, because I put other projects and bits on there that aren't on the YouTube channel. But that's this episode done. I'll see you in the next part.